Hello, everyone, and welcome to BlockLeap Academy. Today, we are finishing this second chapter of what is Bitcoin and blockchain about, and it's a kind of recap. What is blockchain about? Okay, so literally, it's a chain of block, and we will see. So this is how we could represent a blockchain, okay? And I explained everything in detail, but I forgot one thing, and we're going to see it now. If you look at the block here, you can see like a fingerprint, all right? So remember, when a miner gets transactions, okay, and put them in the block is closed, and when you are going to, after the game, before or sealing the block, what you have to do is to put the transaction of all, the fingerprint of all the transactions in it, plus the one fingerprint from the previous block. You put it and then you hash it. Okay, and this is going to create one number, the one you've got here, okay, and this is going to be the hash for the block. So remember that when we talk about hashing, you put 100 books in the Enigma machine, and at the end you've got one phrase, one string of letters, which is 250 bit, okay, 56 bit, okay? So this is the same. You put this fingerprint and you add it to all the transaction, and you will obtain the hash or the fingerprint for the new block, for this block, okay? This is very important to remember. All right, so what I'm going to ask you now, it's a kind of personal recap work. Is going to take maybe 10 minutes from your side, but it's very important for you to look at this slide and see if you are able to tick each of them, meaning that you read them, and if you understand them, you tick. You should be able, because now you were meant to study until today, at least 5 or 6 hours, plus personal reading and video. Maybe in total, your course will have lasted like 10 hours, okay? So you came across all these topics at least once, okay? And now when you're going to carry on, if you want to carry on learning about crypto, you will understand each time you're going to read an article about Bitcoin or a technology related to Bitcoin and blockchain, you will understand all of that. So please, look at this, pause the video and look at all of these. And if you don't understand one, go back to the previous videos, because they all have the name of the topics. All right, so please pause and take at least 5, 6 minutes or 10 minutes to double check that you understand that. For instance, distributed network, yes, I understand, tick, etc., etc. Well, very good. I'm sure you understood everything. So the distributed network is this kind of network, which is, I would say, the first level of security in the blockchain. And remember, the distributed network has no central point or unique point of failure. All the nodes are communicating in peer-to-peer fashion. The node is this computer, which is going to keep inside its code all the history of the ledger of blockchain, which is going to compare. We're talking about a full node, is going to compare with other nodes if the copy they've got is the same everywhere. The blocks, these is the blocks. Remember all the story about the old man, the transactions, etc., etc. The SHA-256 algorithm, the hashing, fingerprint, we talk about that quite a lot. Proof of work you had like a video dedicated to that topic, miners as well. I mentioned, I remember once, the time stamping. And this is very important. I want to go back 5 minutes on that because it's one of the most important aspects of Bitcoin when you want to apply blockchain, when you want to apply blockchain to real cases. And we will see that later on in the intermediate level. Okay, so once, imagine you play the game with the old man and you find, as a miner, you find the right number, you seal the block, and this block is going to be sealed and put in the blockchain at sometime in the day. For instance, today at 5 o'clock, you seal this block, and all the data inside this block is going to timestamp that day, that hour. And even if in 100 years you go back to this block, you will have in each block, you've got like a kind of header. In the header, you will have the day and hour and second when it was created. And this is very important because given that all the transactions and the data inside a block is immutable, you can now have this immutable data inside the block. This is very, very important. And this immutable data has a timestamp. So this is one of the very good aspects of blockchain. And then blockchain and consensus mechanism. I spent one video on that. So I think you are really good to go. So now, this is Max Kaiser, who is really an important person in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And one of his tweets is really good because it's explaining the fundamentals of blockchain. And after these two segments of courses, the first one about money in Bitcoin, the second one about the technical aspect of blockchain and Bitcoin blockchain, you've got that. So you might be able to understand all of this. We are going to go through it really quickly because I want you to understand what can we do with a blockchain and what is the point of blockchain. Now you know the whole thing. So this Max Kaiser said that the Bitcoin protocol has these properties: unconfiscatable, meaning that you can't confiscate the Bitcoin you've got. So I will actually spend in the intermediate level like 1 or 2 segments, 2 videos on that, and I will explain what is unconfiscable, censorship resistance, immutable, etc., which is very important because once you understand that, you understand the power of Bitcoin. But for the time being, let's go quickly through it. And anyway, if you want to go online and check what is unconfiscatable Bitcoin, you will have text, a lot of written stuff on it, and you will be able to understand all the jargon because you learned it during this course. So unconfiscatable, meaning that once you've got a Bitcoin and you don't show your private key to anyone, no one can take it from you, no one can hack it, no one can confiscate it from you. Okay, this is very important. If you put your money in a bank, it's not the case. Your money can be taken by the bank. Okay, censorship resistant means like no one can censor you. You can opt in. Do you remember when we were talking about Bitcoin is an opt-in system, and censorship resistance means like no one can really stop you to use it or send money to anyone. Okay, immutable, I just explained that with the timestamping. When you put data in a block, the block is timestamp, and because you can't hack Bitcoin, this data is going to be there for hundreds and maybe thousands of years if we can survive the climate change. Okay, permissionless, meaning that you don't need permission to enter this this system. Okay, and this is one characteristic of the blockchain per se. You've got permission blockchain, which are centralized in a way, and permissionless, which are not centralized, distributed network where everyone can participate and nobody knows who you are actually. So It's exactly the thing. Decentralized means that inside the system, the nodes, because it's a peer-to-peer connection, they can really communicate in the way they desire to do it. Anonymous, I would disagree with Max Kaiser on that aspect, because Bitcoin is really not anonymous, is, I would say, pseudonymous, meaning that in your Bitcoin, in the blockchain, there is no picture associated, no, your face or your address or your phone number is not associated to your Bitcoin, but it's possible to retrace the history of a Bitcoin. So somehow it's not really totally anonymous, but really, in order to get you to your address and your name, the people who would do that would spend a lot of money and computer power and time and manpower, etc., etc. And transparent, because the block, I show you here, the block in blockchain are transparent, and you can see, even if you can't open it because it's sealed forever, you can see what are the transaction in the data inside. Okay, so if you understand that, really go back in time and remember when you started. All this jargon would have been like, wow, impossible to understand. Now you've got the basic, and this basic is really, I mean, really, you've got 1% of the population on Earth understanding that. So well done. You did a very good job. 10 hours or 8 hours is very, very cool. You are ready now to embrace Ethereum and any other blockchain or coin you want to buy, you want to study, or even if you are working in a company, you can start even looking at blockchain as use cases. I'm going to create, we've got actually courses on use cases like supply chain, health, custody, storage. We've got a lot of courses on that. Okay, so in conclusion, you are now ready for more, which is, Bitcoin. What I gave you here is just like the very, very, very basic. You've got a lot of stuff inside Bitcoin and very interesting tools that you can use inside Bitcoin, but this would be for the intermediate course. And then we will, in intermediate course, is going to be really interesting, because we are going to talk about, remember what I said, Bitcoin is just the first layer, and then you've got other layers on top of it. And this layer, for instance, is one of them is the Lightning Network. And we will explain these intermediate courses, because we've got several, why Bitcoin as a method payment is way better than anything that existed until today. Okay, so again, well done, and see you for more courses. I would recommend now for you to start studying the Ethereum one, because now you've got enough information about blockchain to understand what are the differences between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Anyway, thank you very much, and bye-bye.